Hello and good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 5 of the BSR TCR series here at Monza this evening. Now, you'll notice I'm flying solo currently. That's because we're having a few technical issues for my co-commentator this evening, Dan Blake. We'll be along soon enough. That being said, people that aren't having technical issues this evening are our 18 fearsome competitors that are all currently out there doing their best in qualifying. And we've got about 8 minutes of that to go before we start gridding up for round 1 of our 4 races this evening. We'll be having 4 15-minute races featuring qualifying for race 1, which we'll take you to in just a second. And then we'll have 3 15-minute races after that, all defined by Reverse Grid, the Year 1 Racing spinning wheel of fortune. We'll be heading over in just a moment's time. We've got Michael Seal and James Neve currently in our lead 2 positions, with Paul Cook for Simtech Racing in 3rd place. But before I take you on track, let's have a quick look at the driver's standings before we get underway racing tonight. So, currently leading the championship, we've got Paul Cook on 1,378 points, and he's trailed by his Simtech Racing teammate of Martin Shirley. They're then followed by the 88 Tech duo of Lee Holmes and Craig McDonald. You've then got Ian Manners in P5, and he's currently leading our Pro-Am category. In fact, no, sorry, Martin Shirley leading our Pro-Am category. I digress. James Neve is currently in P6 with Luke Jones in P7, Andy McEwen, the reigning champion, in P8, with Luke Pullen 9th, then Joe Winter in P10. As we run through the second half of the field, you've got Chris Warner in 11th, Glenn Humson 12th, Craig Shield 13th, and then last year's and winner Fiona Siddons in P14, Alice Hatcher P15, and Wayne Douglas P16, with Reece Swat 17th, Chris Dixon 18th, Rob Jackson in 19th, and Trisha Fitzpatrick in P20. And then we've got Michael Steele in 21st, Andy Slocum in 22nd, Mark Oliver in 23rd, and it's Kip Stevens in 24th, and our newcomer for the season, Bradley Hulse in P25. That's enough of an intro from me. Anyway, let's head down to trackside. Hopefully Dan Blake will be joining us in the next couple of minutes, but we've got 6 minutes of quality left to go. You've still got the Year 1 duo of Seal and Neve leading the way, chased by the quartet of Simtech Racing drivers, Cook, Warner, Shirley and Winter. But here we are. So our first pictures from the Autodromo Nazionale Monza at Italy. And you can actually see, so we've got 3 Year 1 cars there in a row, street crafting away. This is our quickest track of the season, so the slipstream effect will be super important, not just in qualifying but also in the race as well. And you've got the 88 Tech cars running there just about, as we've got a car that goes round, thankfully manages to keep it at the wall, but not at the sausage curbs there, and they've towed back to the pits. Now, one rule that you will find as a bit of a quirk in BSRTC is the fact that you only get 1 car for qualifying. So if you spin, if you crash, if you tow, then unfortunately that is it. You are done for your qualifying. So unfortunately we've just lost one of the Year 1 cars. Not sure who that was. Again, you've got your 2 Year 1 cars. As one jumps the curves quite spectacularly, leaps over them like a salmon. So it's 2 Year 1 cars, 2 88 Tech cars, and then you've got a Simtech Racing car just loitering in the back right there. Really interesting to see As I mentioned, we've got our 3 classes tonight as well. You've got our Pro class, you've also got our Pro-Am and our Am, and again, that's one of the redeeming features of BSR is the fact that everybody has someone to race. So I'll be really interested to see how it goes on. I'll be looking forward to see how Bradley Hull's debutant in the Pro-Am category gets on as well. It's always exciting when we've got a new runner just there, because we get to find out exactly what they're made of. Sometimes they perform incredibly strongly and they change the balance of the season too as well. As we're looking at the 4 Simtech racing cars charging on down towards the Parabolica right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Count them out. Team play is definitely in effect. Obviously, all the TCR cars are front-wheel drive, so it's a slightly different dynamic to the MX-5s that we saw on Tuesday night. And the MX-5s gave us some incredible racing. Probably the most exciting racing we've had of the season in both categories. We spoke to a few of our MX-5 drivers on Tuesday night, notably Fiona Siddons and also Andy McCune as well. And both of them said actually there's not that much of a carryover between the two series because of how different the cars are to drive. Obviously rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive, and there's a big weight difference and a big power difference as well. These 4 Simtech drivers that we sat on board of right now, definitely working together, working as a pack. Unfortunately, not managed to make much of a difference compared to the leaders. And we've not got too much of a gap. Obviously, talking, especially it's one thing that Jack Oliphant likes to mention. There's a gap. We always talk about the magic second, and that's how many drivers are within a second of pole position. We've actually got our top 10 currently within that magic second play. Within that magic second, Ian Madness, the last man within a second of pole position. Then you've got Luke Jones, Fiona Siddons, Bradley Hall, Rob Jackson, and Chris Dixon all sitting out. Notably, Luke Cullen, Shisha Fitzpatrick, and Glenn Humbleston. Those 3 drivers haven't set a lap so far. We may have some exclusions from qualifying as well. But as I say, we'll see how they got in the race started from the back. We saw it with Adam Delmont on Tuesday night. Not qualifying, not necessarily being the be-all and end-all here at Monza. As we've got 3 minutes to go. So as drivers start to cross the line now, they'll have enough time for 2 more laps. It's a 2-minute lap, 2-minute 1 lap so far here around Monza. Maybe if we get some cooler track temperatures later on in the evening, we might very well see some laps dipping into the 1-minute 59s. But we'll see how our drivers get on. On the subject of how we get on, I've got no idea if Dan Blake will be joining us or if I will be rocking solo. That being said, we've got Tyler Manning sat waiting in the wings tonight after his Super Sub appearance on Tuesday. So hopefully if Dan Blake can't get on, we might very well see our Canadian maestro himself, the man who does all of these wonderful graphics here, all the BSR series. We might see him very much. Just waiting on confirmation of Dan Blake. 2 minutes to go. We'll see if this quartet of Simtech drivers, if they can use the draft, if they can use the slipstream to slingshot each other on. And it might very well be that 3 of them might have to sacrifice that for one of them to beat the 2-year 1 cars. We saw pack racing being a big feature of the races on Tuesday night, and we might very well see that being a feature as well. It's like NASCAR but turning left and right. As we've got the first car, darts over the curbs just there. He'll let all 3 of his teammates go right now. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. Maybe it would have been sensible to rotate the positions. Obviously, he's going to have a big slowdown and an invalidated lap. But the drivers decide not to. Now, we do know that our BSR TCR drivers, especially the Simtech Racing one, speaking to Joe Winter last week during the broadcast, we do know that they do work very closely as a team in Simtech. Team orders is a thing they imply. So, still just waiting for Dan just to make it on in. Hopefully it won't take him too much longer. Otherwise I'm going to be on overtime right here, and you'll all be sick and tired of hearing my voice. That being said, if I do end up here as a solo mission tonight, please do feel free to say hello to us on social media, obviously broadcasting live on Twitch this evening. So do give me a shout, say hello, cheer on your favourite driver as well. And actually just having a look, we've already got some people right now. So we've got Snicky shouting on, Luke Bullen saying put 4 from 4. Oh, it'll be a tough task, especially with the reverse grids. Ben Humpton shouting on 88 Tech right now. And yeah, Snicky's saying that apparently Luke might have an exclusion from qualifying. Just as we get into our last 10 seconds of qualifying, as our drivers cross the line, this will be it. This will be their final laps right now. Unless they cross the line in the next second, and they don't. So we'll see who gets around and who manages to promote themselves. Very static qualifying. The drivers got out early, they got a bank of laps in, and then they've not been able to improve. That is a feature of the TCI, is the fact that it does wear the front tyres out. Okay, we'll wait. We'll be patient. We'll wait and see. You've got year one, year one, year one, year one. So we saw the 4 SimTech cars working together. We've now got 4 year one cars working in a row as well. And that's the phrase, working. It is teamwork. You've got a car running very wide in the parabolica there. That'll give him an off track. That will invalidate whatever lap that lead car was on. The second car should get a lovely total line. But no improvements as of yet. In fact, no, there is an improvement right there. Andy McEwen goes P5. Splitting up that quartet of cars, and Lee Holmes has also improved to P4 as well. So we have had some changes in our categories right now. So it's still Seal from Neve from Cook, and I believe that is Seal's first qualifying pole of the season so far. And so it's Neve, Cook, Holmes, McEwen. We've got Warner and Schill. We will run through the full grid for you in just a moment. Hopefully providing the graphics do work this evening. 18 entrants so far. It's a good grid for all the TCRs. Again, we've got slightly more pros tonight than we do pro-ams. And we've only got the 3 AMs so far tonight. We have found that the AMs have had very good participation this season, but a few less of them so far. So we'll see how we get on as we've got some improvements still. So Martin Shirley goes up to P8, relegating Craig Schill down as well. So plenty of life left in this qualifying session as we see the 88 Tech car there just disappear on down the pits. 4 cars available for use here in the TCR tonight. So you've got the Hyundai Elantra, the Hyundai Veloster, and you've also got the Audi RS3 as well. One car that we've not seen represented yet in the championship is the Honda Civic. Well, I'm hoping by the end of the season we'll manage to make it a full house. Lovely. So we've had some technical issues tonight for Dan Blake, so he won't be joining me in the commentary booth. But reprising his role from Tuesday night, E1 TV's very own super sub, joining me in the commentary box, it's Tyler Manning. Welcome, Tyler. Hello. How are we?
I'm doing good, Reese. It's good to be joining you tonight. Unfortunate for Dan, but I'm happy to help him out whenever something like this happens. But yeah, I'm excited for tonight. How about you, Reese?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And yeah, I'm very excited tonight. Hopefully the TCR drivers can follow up on what happened in the BSR TCRs on Tuesday, on the BSR M sites on Tuesday. Well, we've got the full grid. And similar to Tuesday night as well, we've had a bit of a mistake on Tuesday night. I actually think we've got the same admin on both evenings, so the same admin's made the same mistake. And that mistake is that we've got a rolling start right now, and that gives me a bit more time to run through the grid as well. But our pole position sitter, as you can see on the screen, is Michael Seal, followed by James Neve in P2. Paul Cook, our championship leader, is in P3, with Joe Winter in 4th. Lee Holmes is in P5, with Andy McEwen in 6th. Then it's Chris Warner in 7th, Martin Shirley 8th, Craig Schill in P9, and Ian Manners in 10th. Cheshire Fitzpatrick is in P11, with Luke Jones in 12th. Bradley Hulse, our debutant, is currently in P13, with Fiona Siddons in 14th, Rob Jackson and Chris Dixon P15 and P16. And then our final row of the grid is Luke Pullen, who's been touted for 4 from 4 in 17th, and Glenn Humston in 18th. Hopefully that pace car will get us rolling soon. Be a little bit of a different dynamic for our drivers as well, Tyler. I'm looking forward to how they deal with a rolling start as well. Obviously, it's a quicker run down to T1. It will be very difficult for them to spot the braking zone, especially on lap 1. Cold tyres, cold brakes, maybe some cold brains as well for the first race of the evening. Hopefully, they will get it through nice and clean, but we've got the 2 Year 1 TV cars leading us away. Are you excited?
I'm really excited. I don't care if this was a mistake. Having a rolling start and with these TCRs is gonna be exciting. Just seeing all the action that we got from Mazdas, I'm expecting the same thing we have through the TCRs. Let's hope there's no carnage at the front.
So field's just about to start rolling, so we'll roll on up the hill under the old banking. Monza is a old historic circuit, just so you can hear the engine notes rise for the first time. A little bit less of a crescendo than we'd normally hope for from a standing start, but still the guys rolling on away right here. They'll be keeping the gaps nice and tight. They'll be maybe seeing a little bit of weaving, maybe some hard accelerations and brakes, trying to generate some heat into those all-important front tyres of our touring cars tonight. As we're here, you'll see some team play in effect. Obviously, we've got the three big teams of the championship so far being represented, and that's Simtech Racing, Year 1, and also as well 88 Tech. We've also got JWM Motorsports, and they've been dominating the AM category the past few weeks as well. We'd love to see how that one carries on. But for now, here we are, just enjoying the national park that is Monza as we run on down the back straight. And I've been to Monza. It's one of the few, well, it's the only European track I've been to so far. It is a very, very nice part of the world, and the Tifosi are mad, mad, mad excitable too. But as we roll out of the Parabolica for technically the first time, on lap 0 of what is predicted to be 8 laps according to my timing board, it's Michael Seal from James Neve leading the pack away. And it will be a pack. It will be a gaggle of TCRs. The pace car's down. We're waiting for the engine notes to rise. I think Michael Seal's already put his foot down. The pack rolls on away. It's Year 1, 1 and 2. It looks like it's been a great start so far for Andy McEwen in the other white TCR car just there. He's on the outside, so you've got 3 Year 1 cars all line abreast. Actually looks like James Neve might be having a look up the inside of Michael Seal. Not quite. So it's Year 1 and 2. And you got the Simtech Racing car of Joe Winter. He was our driver in Focus last week in P4 with Andy McEwen. And Andy makes it all the way. So he started P6, I believe. And he's already up to P4 already. He's caught the Simtech cars napping. And it's Joe Winter, Paul Cook and Lee Holmes as we head down to the second chicane for the first time. Tyler, take us away.
Paul Cook is doing his absolute best trying to break this wall of Year 1 cars ahead of him. And he has backup of his wingman, Liam Holmes, just right behind. And it's going to be very difficult if there are more numbers up front than there are behind, because that 88 Tech car behind Lee Holmes is desperately looking for a way to pass as they come through what is an incredible set of corners. And through they go underneath the bridge. It is incredible. Michael Seal, James Neve lead away as they head through Ascari.
Yeah, Seal, Neve, McEwen, Winter, Cook, in that order. 16 cars currently showing classified on my screen. And it actually looks like we've lost Jason Fitzpatrick. Oh, no, she's come back in. So maybe a connection issue just there. No, looks like we've kept everybody that took the start. Obviously, we didn't have 2 drivers take the start. According to my screen, we'll see what goes on there. We've currently got Chris Dixon just coming out of Ascari right now. Glenn Humberstone, it appears like we've lost. And also potentially as well Luke Bullen as well. As we tumble on down now across the start finish line for the first time, and this will be key. This will show how strong the draft is. Can Seal and Neve, can they swap positions? We saw how vital the draft was, especially at Silverstone. And it looks like, yeah, Neve's managed to get to the bumper of Seal. He gives him a bit of a shove. He offsets the braking zone, but doesn't attack. Will we see these 3 Year 1 cars at the front of the field just try and shut up shop and trying to stop the Simtech cars from getting in between? Potentially so, as we see Lee Holmes and Chris Horning on side by side at the first chicane, through the curve of Grande on lap 2 already.
McEwen is under attack from Winter. It is an absolute dogfight for the final podium, as Seal and Neve are trying to pull away from the rest of the grid as they pump their way through these curbs. Ooh. Quite unsettling for these TCR cars as they were for the Mazdas. It is just incredible work that they keep it on track and not getting some X's. As you see, there is Luke Jones leading away ahead in amateur class. He's doing pretty well in that Audi. How many Audis on here is a bunch of Elantras hiding up the rest of the field? Oh, I would love to see more Audis out here, but it's just Elantra, Hyundai, dominant.
If we don't see any Civics by the end of the season, Tyler, I might do a dual commentary racing role. I'll get a Civic out here at some point so that we can have the full grid represented. We've got, I'm just having a quick countdown right now. So we have 11 Elantras tonight, 3 Velocitas and 2 RS3s currently out on circuit. But leading the way is a gaggle of Elantras. It's Seal, Neve and McEwen. McEwen's actually a lot closer to Neve this lap than Neve is to Seal. We might see P2 and P3 4 places right now. Top 7 all pro drivers. McEwen, he has a look. Neve might go defensive.
He's
Joe
gone
Winter goes at the outside of Andy McEwen. And that's exactly the thing, by not attacking, it's so hard to defend as well. And Andy McEwen gets a great run out there off the first chicane. Joe Winter's now on the outside of the curve of Brandy. It's a long way round. He's also not got the draft. Andy McEwen's got a big old toe off the back of James Neve. He's going to get to the bumper, but then he's going to have nowhere to go. Joe Winter will have the inside for the second chicane. Actually might make it past 2 Year 1 cars in a row just here as they go too wide for the chicane. Very clean, maybe a little bit of a door just there. You can get a 1X in the gravel. That's to be expected. And that's really bunched the field up and let Michael Seal run away. Michael will be looking in his rearview mirror and thinking, that's great. He goes very wide onto the AstroTurf on the exit of Lesmo 1. He will absolutely get away with that just there. As we see the 57 car followed by the 7 and the 1. Paul Cook, who's actually managed to get past his teammate right there. Obviously Joe Winter being just slightly nudged just wide. Be interesting to hear what his thoughts are. He's pretty good for coming in for an interview. Joe Winter relegated to P5, but it's still Year 1, 2 and 3. Then you've got pretty much the entire pack from P2 backwards, all in one. Hunger line all the way back to last driver in this pack to Craig Schill in 10th. And actually it looks like Andy McEwen's willing to get on with it right now. He's currently ahead of James Neve. James Neve might even have a slowdown potentially. I'm not so sure. But James Neve goes to the inside for Parabolica and he won't defend against Andy McEwen. Andy goes around the outside. Looks maybe some coordinated flying right there. And then you've got this gaggle of cars. Tyler, I can't wait to see how this shakes out by the time we get down to the braking zone.
No, you're right. They definitely strategized that. I was in the call with them when they were testing out how they can get an advantage by doing a swap like that. And it has worked perfectly as McEwen is now ahead of Neve. But Neve is under attack by a train of STO cars. Wow. It is just a massive grid that is just bunched up here at the front.
Oh, we say bunched up. It's now a 1.2 second gap from Michael Seal to Andy McEwen. Seal might be thinking, you know what, I'm in the pound seats here. This wing could very well be mine. As we look back through the pack, it is front 7 are all pro drivers. And it's Martin Shirley in P8 leading the way in Pro-Am. With Ian Manners in P2 in Pro-Am, in P9 on the track, and Craig Schill in 10th. And they're all nose to tail as well. So we're going to have a great fight up and down the field for various honours. Any person who's got an easy job of it in class, I think, is Luke Jones. He's currently P11 on the road. And Chris Dixon is currently the only other AM still running. He's all the way back in P16, 12 seconds off the back of the pack. So Luke Jones looks like he's got a fairly easy slam dunk right now. As long as he can keep it on the road. No re-swap this evening. The two J.J. McGowan drivers have been giving each other a hard time. And we're going to ride on board, actually, as I mentioned it, with our newcomer of the evening, Bradley Hulse. Now, Tyler, you'll know Bradley from your time in Year 1. Obviously, Brad spent some time with us as well. What can you tell us about him? What are you looking forward to see from him here in this championship?
Bradley's quite an interesting driver. He definitely has the talent to get himself up in the front of the field that he is right now in the Pro-Am. He can definitely battle with Manners and Shilly. I'm not sure about how fast he can get up quickly because they are breaking away from the rest of the group. So if he can get at least some points here in his class, it'll definitely help him out in the long run of this rest of the season.
He just needs to knuckle down, get some practice in. He's honest as you come Yorkshire lad, it's Bradley. He will definitely say Yuri, and he will definitely call us all pal if he does come in for an interview at some point. Looking forward to hopefully having a chat with him at some point. Yeah, really excited to see how he develops as a driver here in this championship right now. He's just lost the place to Rob Jackson, although Rob's gone straight over the sausage curbs in the first chicane. So Bradley will get that pace back, and Rob should probably get quite a large slowdown from that too. So yeah, Bradley Horse up to P13. As we've been talking, as we've been looking for our field, Andy McEwen's actually caught up to Michael Seal, and I think Seal's actually run slightly wide into the chicane there, because Andy McEwen to our lead, our number one car in the number one position. It's still year 1, 2 and 3, but you've got Cook, Winter, Holmes, Warner all sat in very, very short supply. I think we've got a replay coming up just now, the replay Tyler of the overtake Tyler.
Well, McEwen just doing his job, and we look at Seal. Oh, a lot of locking the brakes, and that will unsettle the car. McEwen just on the inside will get the run and will pass his teammate. That's definitely quite a big deal for a lot of these drivers. If they make mistakes like this, and you see the flash of Seal ahead of McEwen, it is gonna be a very interesting race as long as they can minimize mistakes like this, and they should be fine dragging themselves away from the rest of the grid. Get a 1, 2, 3 for the team.
One mistake though, and it can change everything, as we saw from Michael Seal. And I don't know if he was employing some GT3 tactics. Anyone that watched the top split right now of the Spa race, the 24 hours from Saturday, will know people dipping tyres to try and cool tyres. I'm not sure if that's what Michael was doing. He's so close to the back of Andy McEwen there. Trust the faith that the year 1 teammates must have in each other to run that closely together. We all know the golden rule of motorsport, and that is don't crash into your teammate. Michael Seal doing a great job there. James Neve in P3. These guys synchronised flying on the 3 year 1 TV cars, but Fintech have been an absolute class of the field so far this season. Probably had a little bit of an edge on year 1. There's a year 1 driver that does pain me slightly to say, but the Simtech racing drivers are so strong. Never cut them out, especially as we've got 10 into the first grid late on the night.
3 laps to go, and it is still McEwen up in front as he slowly is pulling away. As you can see, he's getting smaller and smaller in the camera, and that will definitely bring Cook up into a position for fighting against these 2 other drivers like Neil and Seal. So it's definitely gonna be very appetizing for Cook. He's definitely cooking up something. He's waiting for a chance. Probably, I will assume that he'll want a chance in turn 1. That's the best point for breaking in for an overtake. The slowest one in the of this track. So we'll see how he lines this up. But he's looking for one right now. As he gets onto the inside.
Oh, not quite getting alongside on the exit though, so this will be interesting to see. Are these guys talking in Discord? Will we have the 3 year 1 cars lining themselves up right now so that we can James Neve ahead of Paul Cook right here. Some synchronised flying, keeping Cook out of the draft. Appears to be what they've done, because now Joe Winter is getting the run. Oh, as Paul Cook breaks very, very late. Very, very late. Daniel Ricciardo-esque. Oh, James Neve, very, very brave. We've seen cars in real life getting on the curb there on the inside, and they're all going wrong. Our driver's just about getting away with it. And that's let McEwen and Seal almost break away from these cars. 2 laps to go. These drivers are only going to get one more stab, one more attack into the first corner. On the final lap, it'll be about who's quickest into Parabolica and who can get the drag on out.
Yeah, Seal and McEwen are leading away, but that draft is super powerful in these TCR cars. We saw how powerful it was in the MX-5s, and there was so many overtakes that happened that night that I lost count. And right now, that draft is absolutely coming into favor right now. As you see, Shirley and Manners are battling out for class for Pro-Am, and it is as close as they are to the front that any mistake by the people up front will surely affect their race or their own class.
Indeed. So it's Manners versus Shirley in Pro-Am. And the issue that they've got, especially in the pack, is every single car in front of you also has the same amount of slipstream as you. And it kind of negates itself. So you're getting big toes down the straight. So's the car in front, so you're not getting a slingshot, you're not getting a slipstream right there. You can actually see Shirley's got a bit of a gap now. He's got almost 9/10 of a second on Ian Manners. It's actually Craig Schill pressuring Manners here for the outside of the top 10.
Oh!
The white flag! Oh my god! No!
Billy! No! My goodness!
This is a disaster!
Oh! That is insane right there. That... I don't have any words. At the front, McEwen, Seal, me, all taking each other out, and that has led to Cook and Winter a 1-2. Oh, goodness, you can just see how that has affected the pump draft. It was great while it lasted, but it was super dangerous. As you can see right there on the front straight. Luckily, they didn't take out any other drivers while doing this.
With the arrow again, so it looks like the cars just weren't quite square, and it actually looks like, I'm not sure, I think it was Michael Seal into the back for Andy McEwen, not quite straight, hits him in the corner. Round goes McEwen, and unfortunately he takes out the teammate of James Neve on the way through. Apologies, we didn't really keep it together. That was a big shock. What that's let though is our championship leader Paul Cook, all of a sudden he's got a home run, he's got 3 passes, got 2 teammates behind him. We know how well these guys work together as a team. So it's Cook, Winter, Warner, our new top 3. It looked like it was going to be a year 1 lockout on the podium. It's going to be a Syntec lockout on the podium right now. Graham Sessford, I think he's lost for words. I can't repeat any of the words currently mentioned in our broadcast right now. You've then got Lee Holmes, our first non-Syntec runner in P4, as we charge down to Parabolica for the final time. It looks like it's going to be status quo all the way through. It looks like it's going to be Paul Cook taking the race win. I don't think the Syntec guys will be running any sort of bump draft into the line, not after what they've just experienced. And it's Syntec 1, 2, 3. Cook, Winter, Warner, cross the line as we go, and then you got Holmes. Shirley takes the Pro-Am lead just there from Ian Manners in 2nd, and then Craig Schill in 3rd, 7th place on the road. Looks like Saoirse Fitzpatrick will be finishing P8 potentially. We've got a slow car. I think Luke Jones may have run out of fuel actually, and that lets Jackson into P9, Horse into 10. Now it looks like Jones is going to keep class victory potentially. We'll see how that goes. He's just crossed the line. Jonas Siddons P12, and then we've got Neve, Dixon, and then the unfortunate drives of Seal and McEwen. They will still be classified lead lap. I don't even know if they're still running right now. I think both drivers might have very well succumbed to damage and are headed back to the pits. But Tyler, we've got the 3 Syntec racing cars just there, and what drama to round out race 1 of the evening.
Wow. That is a drama fest for a evening for the first race. 3 year 1 cars, all on the final lap, taking each other out. That is... I've lost words. It's
drama.
Insane. Yeah. Drama
absolute everywhere. Drama. The drivers will be pleased to know, though, they've got 3 other bites at the cherry tonight. That was only race 1 of 4, guys, so we'll have plenty more action and drama to come. And to find out what the starting grid is going to be for race 2, let's take it over to the year 1 spinning wheel of fortune. Graham Sessford's going to take it away. We've got 18 drivers potentially, who it could be. We've got full, we've got 15. We'll see how it lands. And it's going to be a smallest reverse grid possible apart from the 8. And it's going to be P number 9. As we run through the full results in just a moment, we'll see who's on our reverse grid poll. But that is not what Seal, McEwen, or Neve would want. They'd have wanted a full reverse grid there. But wow, it just goes to show fine margins. If it was an inch or two further to the left or further to the right, either of those drivers would have got away with that. But apparently not. What I might like to see at some point during the evening is kind of an F1 style, let's go to Christian on the team wall. I'd love to hear Graham Sessford's thoughts if he can put it into English that can be broadcasted. But wow, Tyler.
I'm just trying to compare this drama to anything that I remember. I think this is more drama than I've seen in a Kardashian TV show. This is just huge, implications for the championship in the long run. Having that free podium lockout is huge for the team, for year one. But wow. I'm losing for words. But here we go. Podium. Cook.
Whilst Tyler's regaining his words, we've got a podium there. Simtech, it absolutely changed. I've got a message in my inbox from Andy McEwen. I'll read that one out to you if I can after we've gone through our full results. But yeah, Cook, Winter, McEwen, 1, 2, and 3. And as we head on over to our full results right now, you've got the confirmation of that with Lee Holmes 4th, Shirley 5th, winning our Pro-Am category as well for Martin Shirley. Then it's Ian Manners 6th, Craig Shaw 7th, Shisha Fitzpatrick in P8. And then Rob Jackson, not only did he finish the race in P9, but he's also qualified for our reverse grid pole for tonight. So he'll be starting race 2 from first place. Then it's Bradley Hulse in P10, a strong debut actually. P10, first race of the season. He's not going to be complaining about that. Luke Jones, he may have run out of fuel at the end, but he still wins AM. He's P11 for JWM Motorsports. And it's Fiona Siddons in P12. James Neve, 13th. The highest finishing 1TV car after the disaster they had is Chris Dixon in 14th. Andy McEwen, still classified in P15, with Michael Seal classified in P16. Two drivers that didn't take the green flag is Luke Pullen and also Glenn Humberstone as well. We'll be coming back to the studio just now, Tyler, but wow, a quarter of the way through the races. Hopefully we don't have a quarter amount of that kind of action, especially not for year one. Andy McEwen saying it was the slightest misjudgment from Michael, and then bang, the R-Racing physics took over. It's so frustrating. We'd managed that race perfectly up until then. And that's a perfect review of how that went for us. But disaster for year one, glory for Simtech Racing. Roll on race 2.
Absolutely. Drama fest everywhere for this first race. Hopefully not as much, but action as always here for TCR Racing. But I'm expecting a lot of stuff happening later on. So, let's see race 2.
You look just as strung out by this as I am, Tyler, honestly. I think I need a break. So why don't we be back in a couple of minutes and we'll take you away for race 2. Don't go nowhere, guys. Grab a drink and we'll see you in a moment.
Hello and welcome back to the British Sim Racers Touring Cars. You may notice a bit of a change in the commentary box. A big thank you to Tyler Manning, while I had my difficulties, and also a big thank you to my dad, who managed to help see what the issue was, and we got it sorted now. So my night has just gone about as well as that final lap for year one so far. So hopefully for both sides of it, it gets a bit better from here, Reese.
Fairly disastrous so far for everybody involved, unless your name is Cook, Winter or Warner. And then you've just locked out the podium of race one. Sessford is, he's just about calmed down. I think he's not going to have a heart attack, but we shall see going forwards for sure. We're really looking forward to race two. We've had a few technical issues as well with the session going up, so it's a slightly longer wait between the two sessions. I think we've got about 3 or 4 minutes to go before we get into race two. Dan, did you watch race one whilst you were fixing your issues? What were your thoughts?
I actually came in just for the last lap and saw the capitulation of year one. So, yeah, not a good time to get back in, really, for those watching of year one Persuasion. But it opened up the door for SimTech to get a 5th victory in a row in the British Sim Racers Touring Cars. Of course, they took all 4 race victories last week, and they have a 5th one now as well, on the 1, 2, 3. And really, you have to say that it never looked on the cards. I did see sort of earlier in the race there was a good battle between Joe Winter and Andy McEwen. They tried to get past them, but he wasn't able to. He got pushed back to 4th place, and it looked like that was going to be the destiny of the race until the very unfortunate last lap. And Andy McEwen absolutely gutted, and it just shows the risk-free reward here at Monza, the Autodromo of Speed, is that they went for high risk and it hasn't worked out. And I wonder if that will have an impact on sort of similar decisions later on in the evening. But also, as I say, in the classes, of course, Luke Jones taking the AM victory despite running out of fuel, I believe, on the run to the line. So Luke Jones was quite lucky that there was only 2 AMs in that race, or he could have found himself maybe in a bit more trouble. And also as well, Martin Shirley taking another victory in Pro-Am as well. And Martin Shirley, I think already sort of we're getting towards the halfway point in the season. He's got to be a firm favourite for the Pro-Am Championship, and he's still in contention, of course, for the main championship as well. So just proves the strength of that Pro-Am class at the moment.
Really, really strong there so far. Martin Shirley running away with it, similar to how Luke Jones is in AM as well. They're the 2 standout performers so far. Really good to see Bradley also on his debut picking up a P10, narrowly missing out on that reverse grid pole. That could have been quite a turn of events. Your second BSR race being on pole position. That had been big pressure on the young man's shoulders. But as it is, we've got Rob Jackson on pole position. We'll see how he gets on. We saw him actually fighting with Bradley in race 1. We saw him actually miss the chicane as well. So hopefully he's got his braking points figured on out. Really looking forward to it. I'm just loading into the session, Dan. Have you got an ETA on when race 2 starts?
I am just loading in myself. Also, as I was going to say regarding Rob Jackson, good to see him getting back, because he had the illness, of course, last week and was unable to race. So good to see Rob back in shape and racing in the top 10 in that first race as well.
Lovely. Well, we're having word in our ear that the session is just about live. My timing screen is just about to come up as well, Dan. But hopefully we'll get the grid to run through. We've got about a minute to go, and we have got standing start for race 2.
And as you say, on the front row of the grid, we do have Rob Jackson and Jose Fitzpatrick, with Craig Schill and Ian Manners on the second row. Martin Shirley and Lee Holmes comprise row 3, with Chris Warner, Joe Winter and Paul Cook rounding out the top 9. In 10th place is going to be Bradley Hulse, with Fiona Siddons in 11th, Luke Jones 11th, Fiona Siddons 12th, James Neve 13th, and 14th Chris Dixon, with Andy McEwen in 15th. So we'll see now very shortly. What we have here is the race about to get underway, and it looks like it is a completely different grid to what we're expecting in this one. I've got Paul Cook on pole position, it looks like on the screen here, so I'm not sure what's happened. Rob Jackson even, so yes, Rob Jackson on pole position in that car. The lights go on, out they go now. It's a good start from Rob Jackson. Certainly a SimTech car setting a good start. With a poor start though for Jose Fitzpatrick. She has not had the best of starts, but as the cars run down towards the Variante di Rettifilo for the first time, It is the 585 of Jackson who is in the lead. The 88 Tech car has gone into second place. That would be Craig Shield with Ian Manners in. Ian Manners not in third place. That's Lee Holmes who's got ahead of Ian Manners. So 88 Tech with a couple of cars there in the top four. And unlike what we saw in the first race, with the spread out of the field, it looks like that we are having a bit of a spread in the field. So they get down towards the Variante de Rogia for the first time, and Craig Shield looking to make that move to take the lead. There go down the inside, makes a stick. So it is going to be Craig Shield who takes the lead, Reese, as we're halfway through lap one already. Quite a bit of drama so far.
Yes, very clean though. No one off the road as of yet. Looks like Ian Manners actually up the inside of Lee Holmes into the first Lesmo, and he'll keep the inside into Lesmo 2. Hello, bagging doors on entry as well. They've made it through clean, and Ian Manners has made that move stick. Not where you'd usually see an overtake happen there, but it's Schill, Jackson, Manners, Holmes. Obviously, Craig Schill, our Pro-Am class leader as well. With Cullen currently P14, currently leading the way, I believe, in our AM category. We've actually lost our race one winner, Luke Jones, between sessions 2. We got Chris Dixon in P15, ran out the field and ran out. Andy McEwen, not a great start for him. He's in P14 right now. So not a great time for Andy, not the start he'd have wanted, especially after the race one disappointment. It's interesting to see how that reverse grid downs really mix things up, as we've got some overtaking happening on the way into the Parabolica.
Yeah, some exciting stuff here as we go into the Parabolica for the first time, and it is involving Rob Jackson and Lee Holmes. But out in the front, Craig Shield is starting to pull away. Pull away to a point where there's no slipstream. He will find himself in a good position, but Ian Manners gap getting closer and closer. It's down to 0.8 of a second. Not far behind him, of course, we have that train of cars. Oh, Rob Jackson potentially trying to make it 3 wide. Thinks better of it, but he will lose out under braking to Lee Holmes. Oh, late braking there, nearly into the back of Manners, and there is contact as he comes back onto the track with Lee Holmes. But both cars haven't lost too much time. I say that Rob Jackson going across the grass, and that pole position start has gone horribly wrong. He puts himself back almost to where he was in the first race. In fact, he is back into 9th place. So Rob Jackson down to 9th, just out of James Never and Michael Sill. Andy McEwen has lost a lot of time. He's down now in 15th place behind Chris Dixon. Did he have maybe some damage on that first lap, I wonder, because Andy McEwen has dropped right back down into 15th place. But as we see at the moment, we're looking at the car there of Rob Jackson. Goes a little bit wide there into the first of the Lesmos, and that will be an open invitation for Michael Seal to go past. And also, that is it's James Neve. So James Neve has gone past as well, and it's going to be a slowdown as well for Rob Jackson. This really is not a good lap for Rob Jackson, Reece.
It's been a disaster of a lap for Jackson. One person will be happy with how the lap's gone out. It's Craig Schill. He's got a 7/10 of a second lead over Ian Manners. Manners getting his elbows out, especially at the start. He's done a great job all the way up to P2 in what is the widest velocity we've ever seen. Then you got Lee Holmes in third, our first pro driver. So it's Pro-Am 1 and 2. And it's the pro of Lee Holmes winning class, but not winning the race, with Warner, Winter, Fitzpatrick and Cook. So Cook, our championship leader, our race 1 winner, all the way back in P7, with Martin Shirley, our race 1 winner from Pro-Am, currently in P8, and Stephen Seal in 9 and 10. But yeah, what has happened to Andy McEwen, we don't know. It's been a disaster for him.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got some damage, because he seems to be losing a lot of time. He lost about 4 seconds on the previous lap, and I wonder if that's all down to slipstream. You see the car, Lee Holmes there blinking, and somewhere like Monza, this is probably one of the worst places to have a connection difficulty, because cars are running so close together, and that may be a little bit unnerving for Chris Warner behind him. But Chris Warner, SimTech driver, a race winner, of course, in the British Sim Races Touring Car Championship this season. One of the better ones there, as we see Craig Schill under pressure from Ian Manners. And I believe we are going to see very shortly what's happened. Oh, look at that, the amount of curb they take there through Variante della Roggia. Quite impressive. We've got a replay of what happened to our reigning champion. So let's have a look and see what happened to Andy McEwen. So we're on the run down for the first time. It was the Variante di Rettifilia, and I wonder if it's Constantina. Let's have a look and see. So I have word in my ear. There is going to be some contact here. Oh yeah, there is some contact there. Andy McEwen going into the back of one of his year 1 teammates there. I would say the Constantino effect has a big effect there for Andy McEwen's race, and not the start to the evening that the reigning champion would have wanted. And you see there straight away, damage to the car means he's lacking a lot of top straight line speed. So I say, oh wow, that is massive, especially with the track being Monza. That's probably one of the worst tracks we used to have. This damage like Andy McEwen has at the moment.
Yeah, the rear of that car is stoved in, so not only did he have contact from the front, it also looked like he'd had a fair old whack from the rear as well. Not sure who hit Andy. It was year 1 cars only at the back though, so it was definitely friendly fire. But to use the technical phrase for that car, well, there's 2 technical phrases I'd like to use. The first one being that car is properly munted, and the second one is he's been vandalen, he's been friendly fired for the second race in a row for Andy McEwen. But as we look at the front of the field, it's been all changed, so it's still Schill in the lead. Lee Holmes is in P2, and Ian Manners, who was running in second place and is, as we talked about, a hard man to pass, has currently dropped all the way down to P6. So it's 88 Tech by 88 Tech, and it's Syntec Racing, Syntec Tech Racing, Syntec Racing. And you got the Santo Dungeon car of Ian Manners there in P6 down. We're about halfway through this race already, 8 minutes to go, and I think we've got a cracker of a finish set up.
Oh, exactly. I think we're going to see the Syntec drivers getting their elbows out a little bit. Of course, they are currently defending a 5-race winning run at the moment. And Chris Warner and Joe Winter, Paul Cook as well, they're all in very close attendance. And the way the season's gone so far, you've got to think that maybe that they're the favourites to go past these 288 Tech cars. At the moment, there's a change there between the 2 of them. Lee Holmes takes the lead going through Lesmo 2 from his Pro-Am teammate Craig Schill. Craig Schill, however, though, does still lead the Pro-Am class, but Lee Holmes has gone past Craig Schill, and now Craig Schill will have to try and fight off the might of Syntec Racing. You see a change to the Syntec drivers as well. It looks like Joe Winter has gone ahead of Paul Cook. As we see Lee Holmes maybe a little bit looser there, going through Variante Ascari when the entry that he wanted to be, and that will help his teammate Craig Schill inch ever closer, but these Syntec Racing blue lurking very, very, very far in the mirrors. You got the only car that's not a Syntec Racing car in the next sort of 5 is Ian Manners, our reverse grid. He's almost like a reverse grid legend. Whenever there's a reverse grid race, he's always at the front and having memorable moments. But currently only down in 6th place at the moment. But I think this is where we're going to gap this corner right on the rear of the car of Craig Schill, the 88 Tech car, as we now see Ian Manners. But they're still blinking as well, Lee Holmes, as I said earlier on, but it's not going to affect Chris Warner because they go down towards the Variante direct video. We'll try and make moves, see if we can make any places up with Ian Manners as well. They are side by side for second place. He's going to have to go around the long way as Chris Warner, but not able to make it. Shield keeps the position, and also Ian Manners is on the back. It's almost like a tow rope between the top 6 cars. They are very close together. You could almost say it's like a TCR centipede here at Monza. As the cars go now down towards the Variante de Roggia for the 5th time. It is unchanged at the moment, but those Syntec Racing boys look like they want to make a move pretty shortly. Oh, contact!
Oh, it's Ian Manners getting overtaken there by Martin Shirley. That's the P2 in our Pro-Am category. Martin Shirley getting his elbows out for sure. Batters his way through the inside, and he's currently now joining the train of Syntec Racing cars. So it's Warner, Winter, Cook and Shirley, 4 Syntec Racing cars in a row. And you've got the Samsung Dungeon car, Ian Manners, now in P7. Slightly behind them on the road, you've got the 2 Year 1 TV cars of Seal and Neve. So they're currently recovering, and as much as I don't think they'll be fighting for top honours here in race 2, they've positioned themselves nicely for the race 3 reverse grid. So we might be able to salvage something for Year 1 tonight, to whether the 88 Tech cars can hold out against those 4 Syntec cars. And it looks like Lee Holmes has made a gap from his teammate. So I think they've decided that, you know what, Craig Schill, more time to play blocker and let Lee Holmes try and scamper away the best he can.
Warner's gone past. I think they're side by side. Yes, they are going to Parabolica. There are 2 of the Syntec cars on the inside, one being Warner and the other being Joe Winter. Chris Warner has made it through into 2nd place. Craig Schill is in 3rd, but Joe Winter will have the slipstream from his teammate, and they could also bring Paul Cook along with them as well. All 3 Syntec Racing cars could be past that ATX team car of Craig Shield by the time they get into the braking zone, although Craig Shield also now has a bit of slipstream from his teammate Lee Holmes, but the Simtech Racing cars do have the right line there for the first part of the chicane. Chris Warner gets through, so one of them is now through. Craig Shield in third place. Bit of a flash of that light there from Joe Winter. I know Reese mentioned it not very long ago, but there are two more cars added to this train. They are James Neebe and Michael Seal, and they have also brought along as well the car of Chassé Fitzpatrick. So we have now got the top 10 pretty much within 4.5 seconds. We said Monza will provide close slipstreaming racing. That's definitely what's happening. Craig Shield, not the best of lines there into Valiante da Roggia, and that is going to allow Joe Winter to maybe have a little look down the inside. But
they've touched
there.
sideways. They'll save it. Front wheel drive will keep them in play, and you've got Paul Cook heading out up the inside as well. Craig Shield getting shuffled down the order, shuffled back towards P2 in Pro-Am as well. He's kept that save with some very good tire control. Look at how tight that's punched the midfield of our pack up. Manners and Shirley side by side for second in Pro-Am. They've got Craig Shield very much in their sights right here. This is going to be action all the way through the rest of this lap, all the way down to the chicane. It looks like Manners and Shirley almost bumping doors. We've got Michael Seal all the way up to P7 now. It's a decent recovery from the 2-year 1 cars. We've got a gap at the front of half a second. Chris Warner somehow got ahead of Lee Holmes. Lee Holmes making a mistake perhaps into the second chicane. No, he's showing P2 on screen. He's not flashing at all. He's definitely in P2. It's all changed at the front. It's all changed in the midfield. As it looks like, again, you've got Manners and Cook side by side. You've got Seal trying to pass Shirley now as well. He's just made that through. It's all changed all up and down the field. It might even be a second Simtech Racing win in a row. 2 laps to go down. I'm going to run out of breath. If you want to take us through the replay of what happened to Lee Holmes.
We'll have a look there. You see him blinking in and out. That's like a swarm of Hornets behind. There's 7-8 cars there. It's a slowdown. So Lee Holmes must have taken maybe a little bit too much in the second of the Lesmo curves there. And what's that allowed is Chris Warner to go through, but of course, the nature of the circuit, he's not going to be getting away. And Lee Holmes already on the attack for 88 Tech. No, he's lifted off there, producer Graham Sess was saying, not wanting to be at the front, which may be a smart idea there. But what Lee Holmes will need to do is not back off too much, because it's another slowdown, another one. There's also a slowdown for Lee Holmes. His race is unravelling in the curse of slowdowns at the moment. I expect there'll be some curse words coming out of his mouth as well, because that is the last thing that he would want, having led the race, is to be dropping down into 4th place. His teammate Craig Shield has gone past, although is that a slowdown?
Chris Warner's got a slowdown as well.
It's a slowdown. It's a race of slowdowns. Who's going to be the next one to get one? Chris Warner. And especially when the pack are this close together, a slowdown could make you drop down 3 or 4 places. And BSR TC, as unpredictable as ever, Chris Warner does get back into line, into 4th place behind Lee Holmes. But that's our 2 race leaders from 2 laps to go, both dropping down as a result of slowdowns. They are going down towards the parabolic of what will be the penultimate time, just over a minute on the clock. For the first time in this race, it's Joe Winter who has the lead.
Yeah, all changed. Guys, the white lines denote the edge of the track. If you go over them, you will be packing up off tracks, and you will be picking up slowdowns as per the sporting code. We'll see what the sporting code's got to say though. A 4/10 from the second gap from Winter to Shill. Maybe Shill might not catch it up this time by, but he's going to have so many opportunities to overtake. On this lap, he's going to have a big toe off Winter, and it looks like again he's just moving around there. I don't know if the 88 Tech cars were contemplating a switch. Winter will keep it into the first chicane right here, into the Rettifio. Out he comes, he gets a nice clean launch out of that. A little bit of gravel actually for Craig Shill. That will compromise his momentum for sure. 4/10 gap once again. We've got people tumbling down the hill. Martin Shirley's dropped back to P10. You've got Craig Shill in P2, currently leading the way in Pro-Am. Dan, this is going to be a spellbinding half a lap right now.
I'm rather excited about the conclusion of this race, as the time does click down to 0. So this is the final lap of the race, and Joe Winter and Craig Shill, that gap now down to 0.3 of a second. It looks like we've had a bit of a split in the pack. We have now got the top 6 cars who made a bit of a breakaway towards the rest of the back pack. But it's Joe Winter as he goes through the second of the Lesmos who has the lead. I saw one of the cars going a bit wide. I think that was Jose Fitzpatrick in one of the Velocitas that went extremely wide in the second Lesmo, the first Lesmo, shall I say. And as we go now through, it is going to be, I think at the moment, it's three cars in contention, which are Joe Winter, Craig Shield and Lee Holmes. There's a second and a half gap back to the cars behind, so it's two. Oh, Ian Manners down the inside, what a move! He stacked that Veloster so far down the inside, nothing that the car Paul Cook could do other than let him move past. But the main drama here is going to be for the victory on the run down to the Parabolica for the final time. Winter is hugging the inside line, but on the outside he's got Craig Shield, the 88 Tech teammate of Lee Holmes there as well. And Shield potentially has blocked him, but he's going to go for the undercut here. And I think he's got the momentum. He's going to be really close towards the finish line. Joe Winter and Craig Shield. Who is going to take it? I think it is just going to be Winter. It is. It's Joe Winter by 200ths of a second who takes victory here at Monza. Winter takes the victory for Simtech. But one of the closest finishes this season. It's Craig Shield in second place. Lee Holmes in third. Ian Manners fourth. And we do have two Pro-Ams, of course, in the top four. Craig Shield taking the Pro-Am win in second place. Ian Manners in fourth takes second in Pro-Am. Martin Shirley, though, third place, very uncharacteristically low position for him. It also means he is third in Pro-Am. In terms of the AM drivers, I think Chris Dixon is the only one who raced. So it is a maiden AM victory for Year One's Chris Dixon. So Year One taking a victory in the second race. It's in the AM division. But Year One will be happy with that. They have taken the victory tonight. But that final lap race, that was enthralling stuff. And I think if it had just been the finish line a slight few metres down the road, we would have had Craig Shield taking the victory. But the timing says it's Joe Winter who gets the nod this time.
Very, very, very tight gap right there. Less than 300ths of a second. Lee Holmes 2 tenths behind as well. What a finish we had. Ian Manners with a blind removed up the inside of Ascari as well, beating Paul Cook too. We'll be heading back to the studio in just a moment, Dan, and you'll be taking us through the spinning wheel to find out who starts race 3 where. I can't believe we're halfway through the night already.
It has been a fantastic night so far. See the spinning wheel, see who is going to be on reverse grid pole. I think that's going to be 15. It is going to be 15. That is a full reverse. And that puts Rob Jackson on pole position with Andy McEwen on the front row as well. So Andy not had the best of races there. We saw he had the issue on the first corner of the first lap. He carried on racing, drove through it, didn't give up. And his reward is a front row start in this one alongside Rob Jackson. Only driver to actually miss out on the reverse grid is Bradley Hull. So I feel a little bit sorry for Bradley there. He's like the lone man who's the odd one out. But Rob Jackson on pole for Andy McEwen second. And what that means, of course, is this is probably one of the highest reverse grids we've had all season. It will mean the likes of Joe Winter, Paul Cook, they'll be fighting from outside of the top 10. But we saw at Donington and also recently at Silverstone what Joe Winter can do from a reverse grid. So it'll be interesting to see how this transpires. But it's going to be shaking up once again the grids, and as I say, it is pretty much a full reversal with just Bradley Hulse missing out.
The grid is absolutely scrambled. Dan, why don't you take us through the full set of results right now? We've got the podium here of Winter, Schill and Holmes. But Dan, take us through the full results.
So there you see, those are our top 3. It's Joe Winter, Craig Schill and Lee Holmes. Simtech getting that 6th race victory in a row, and Simtech at the moment, if they can get another couple, that'd be interesting to see if they can get 7 or 8. The run goes on. Ian Manners is the first driver outside the podium places. We saw him make that brave move on Paul Cook, of course, going to Variante Ascari. He finishes 4th and 2nd in Pro-Am. Paul Cook in 5th for Chris Warner, 6th. In 7th place is James Neve, and 8th place for Jose Fitzpatrick, and Michael Seal and Martin Shirley rounding out the top 10. In 11th place is Luke Pullen with Fiona Siddons in 12th. Chris Dixon takes the AM victory with Andy McEwen in 14th, keeping up despite having the issues. Rob Jackson, he started on pole position from that race. He is 15th, but he'll get another chance through the beauty of Graham Sesswood's reverse grid wheel. And Bradley Hulse, as we say, the only driver who will not be getting reversed, is in 16th place. All the drivers are classified as well, so there were no non-finishers in the second race of the evening. So always good to see the full complement of cars finishing as well, isn't it, Reese?
Yeah, no one DNFing. Obviously, probably a little bit of damage there for Andy McEwen, unfortunately. We saw him get sandwiched start for a great run through the grid for Joe Winter. I'm hearing in my ear, apparently we've got Andy McEwen for an interview. Oh, we're going to try and get Andy McEwen in for an interview. Sorry, Andy, if you are watching the broadcast, please heed the call. We want to hear from you. That being said, Dan, if you'd like to ad-lib just for a moment, I'll see if I can go and drag him in. One moment.
That sounds a plan. So, as I say, yeah, we've got this third race coming up. It's going to be a top 15 reversal, and it is one of the biggest reversals that we have seen this season in the British Sim Racing British Sim Racers, shall I say, Touring Car Championship. I still haven't got over that year one capitulation, really, in the first race. I've been sort of watching and being part of the British Sim Racers touring cars for 9 years, and I think that's got to go down as one of the most memorable moments in the BSR TC history. We have seen some great moments in the history of the championship drivers, obviously, such as Ashley Sutton involved, the British touring car champion. He's done many a season in the British Sim Racers touring cars. We've also seen drivers like Wojciech Zawidovic over the years, some of the really good touring car drivers, David Baker, drivers who you see racing in the higher levels of iRacing. They've previously raced in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship, and as I say, the championship's been running for 9 years now, so it is probably one of the most long-standing, if not the most long-standing touring car championship in all of iRacing, and it's the sort of the handiwork of Kip Stevens, Steve Richardson, also sort of names like Laura Bond and other sorts of names as well across the years of people who've been involved in the British Sim Racers touring cars who maybe aren't involved now, but just the legacy of this championship to go for nearly 10 years just shows what a great package the British Sim Racing Touring Cars Championship is. And we'll go for a short break, I believe, and then we'll be back for the third of 4 races tonight on the Autodrome Aero Speed at Monza.
I was going to say, Okay, so we've got our break short, actually, and we've headed in straight to an interview with Andy McEwen. Unfortunately, we've not got Dan Blake just yet. He's just gone to grab a drink, so it's just me and Andy in here. It's a very comfy sofa chat. Thank you for joining us between races. It was going so well for you in race 1, Andy. You'd started from, I think, was it P6, was it? You'd picture it. You had a great start. We saw you making a brilliant launch on the rolling start. You'd picked your teammates off one by one, and you were all of a sudden in P1, and then took us through your night from there.
Do I have to? It was all downhill from that point. Do you know what? We had driven the perfect team race until that point. Like, even before the race started, we were like, because obviously we had a year 1 front row lockout, so we were like, right, when you're going to go, give me a 3, 2, 1 countdown. I'll accelerate on 1. That's what got me the jump. And then, perfect. When we're in front, we got the quicker ones to the front, and we were helping James hold on to 3rd. It was all perfect. And then it was just, I mean, we all saw what happened, right? It was an explosion of year 1 cars. Michael tried to bump me down the straight.
I'm going to have to cut you off. As much as I've badgered you to come in for an interview, race 3 is already starting. We've got about a minute to go. So quick, jump across. I can see you wheel in the background there. I'm so sorry, Andy. That was a very short break between sessions. And we're already going to be live for that. Just that I was having production tell me furiously in my ear, get in, quick, tell Andy. It was waiting and waiting and waiting. So, a short break between sessions. I've got my timing screen lined up. I've got the grid just up in front of me, and I will very, very quickly run through that for you now. So, we have Jackson, McEwen, Dixon, Siddons, Pullen, Shirley, Fitzpatrick, Neve, Warner, and Cook rounding out our top 10. I've got 10 seconds to go. So, it's Manners, Holmes, Schill, Winter, and Bradley Hulse. And they are our 15 entrants. Flash in a pan as we go. Rob Jackson repeating his reverse grid feat of ending up on pole for race 3. We've got lights. We're about to get cameras. We've got cameras. We're about to have some action now. Right, Crofty. It's lights out and away we go here at Monza. Luke Pullen hasn't made the start. Rob Jackson starting away from pole though. Gets a good launch. Andy McEwen, he's made it back into his chair in time. He's currently P2 and slots straight in behind. Fiona Siddons in 3rd place. Gets a reasonable launch, and she's got Martin Shirley just behind her, with James Neve looking to the inside of the Simtech racing car. Once again, it's year 1 versus Simtech. As we've got, who's that going around the outside there? Is that Chris Warner making a great move around the outside of James Neve just there? But it looks like all of our drivers have got away nice and cleanly, so far at least. McEwen now having the run through Curva Grande. He's running all the way through 2nd corner on the track. Going to Delaraggio chicane for the 3rd time tonight on lap 1. He's going to get a lift touch. Oh my God, Andy McEwen with some brilliant car control just there. He holds on to P2, holds on to the car more importantly. His night was about to go from bad to worse to just frankly terrible. But he's doing a great job, and again, he's right back on the bumper of Rob Jackson. And in fact, he's going to go to the inside of Lesmer there. They booked doors. He gives him a shove. I think after the contact they had earlier on hit like that, maybe a shoulder barge or 2. Oh, it looks like we've got Martin Shelley to back and Siddons. Weston only getting out of shape there as well. Everyone holding on to the pass just about. Our top 7 drivers, though, are either part of year 1 or Simtech. It is a mano v mano, and a few ladies in there as well. Duel into our field. I might get joined by Dan Blake at some point during this race, and I'll tell him all about how great a first lap he's missed right here. But it's
I've seen it, Reece. I haven't missed any of it.
Actually, Dan Blake is back, so I'm going to let him hop on in and continue to describe the action for us just here. But wow, welcome back to Monza, Dan.
I was just letting you enjoy that first lap. I've been here right from the start, but you seem to be enjoying yourselves. But not as much as these drivers are enjoying themselves as Andy McEwen, who has got the lead, but he's got the 3 Simtech cars behind. Looks like a slowdown potentially there for Fiona Siddons. She was very slow coming out of the Parabolica. But Andy McEwen, he said in his interview, not the best of nights so far tonight for Andy, but did get some redemption in this 3rd race. It is him who currently leads the way as he goes down in towards the Variante di Rettifidio for the 2nd time. There's contact there potentially between 2 Simtech cars. It looked like they were getting close together there. And there's also the year 1 car as well as James Neve as well. So James Neve getting stuck in with the Simtech drivers there, as you see him looking. That's the Pro-Am car of Martin Shirley, who is his next target. Martin Shirley in the 585 car. As Neve goes down the inside, is he going to make a stick? Yes, he is. James Neve moves up into 4th place. His next target for podium is going to be the car of Chris Warner in 3rd place. Further back in the order as well. A very close race going on there. You've got the velocities of Chassé Fitzpatrick and Ian Manners involved in that as well, alongside Craig Shields got down in 12th place. Still Craig Shield earlier on involved in the action as well, and it looks like we're down to one driver again as well for this 3rd race as well, Chris Dixon. So I wonder if Luke James is going to this as well. We haven't seen him in the last 2 races, but it's allowing Chris Dixon to rack up some crucial points in the AM Championship. But at the moment, it is Andy McEwen who leads the way, with Martin Shirley in 2nd place and Chris Warner in 3rd. So there's a shake up there as well near the front of the order. Martin Shirley was down in 4th place, but there's a slowdown as well, it looks like, for one of the Simtech cars. That is Rob Jackson in the 585. So Rob Jackson has had a slowdown, but as they come around the Parabolica, very wide there as well, is another one of those Simtech cars. That's Paul Cook in the 51. So action plenty in this 3rd race so far. Reese, as Martin Shirley puts in the fast lap.
Martin Shirley fast lap of the lap. We've actually got him overtaking Andy McEwen down into turn 1. Neck and neck on the brakes. It looks like Andy McEwen with the inside line stops it just before the entry to the first chicane. Just that. I just get the names mixed up. I know, Dan, you've got it down right there as we head through Curva Grande. Actually looks like Martin Shirley is going around the outside, very much like we saw Sebastian Vettel do against Fernando Alonso, the man who's retiring today from Formula 1. But you got Shirley around the outside of McEwen. He'll have the inside now for the Rettifio chicane, and he's got that move just about done. He gets it stopped. He claims the apex. Andy McEwen, he's going to get a decent run out. Will he attack into Lesmo? Looks like Martin Shirley covers it off. Maybe 2 moves down the straight. Nothing too major there, I don't think. Plenty of room left if Andy did want to pursue that to the inside. And it's an interesting, we've got a bit of a chess match here now. We've got Simtech Year 1, Simtech Year 1. Then you got 2 more Simtech cars just behind as well. The teams are mixed up. We saw formation flying in race 1 down. We saw that didn't go well for one team and did go well for a second. We're now split up. Looks like Michael Steele actually missed the start to race 3. It was a very short gridding period we had. Put us by surprise. As we've got McEwen. No, he's not going to go around the outside of Ascari. He's up on the sausage curve. Andy McEwen, you've surely got to know you can't overtake around there. You've got to have been told. And has he got to slow down? Is he lifting? He's got Chris Warner to his left, which we can't quite see. He's just appearing just there. There he is. So it's Chris Warner now appearing. Oh no! And then you've got Shirley who lifts on out. This is let it 3 wide, 4 wide potentially, door to door to door. And where's James Neve?
So James Neve has taken the lead, and it's got a big accident behind. Oh, that's a huge chunk. There's wheels everywhere. That looked like Ian Manners. Ian Manners involved. There's a wheel flying down. Ian Manners, 3 wheels on his wagon. He's still going to try and go along, but I don't think he's going to be able to drag that very far. That is one of the biggest shunts we've seen this season in the British Sim Racers touring cars for Ian Manners. Luckily, it is in the virtual world that have to worry about a driver injury. Although I say that, he's got a direct drive wheel, and he may have felt what happened. It's Fiona Siddons. It's contact. There's 3 of them. Chassé Fitzpatrick, Fiona Siddons, and Ian Manners. And Ian Manners is a driver who comes off worse. There a very hard impact into the barrier, and that would be gutting for Ian Manners. We say he's done some great things in the reverse race previously. Andy McEwen as well, back into 4th place. So the order is switching and sliding all the time here at Monza in the 3rd of 4 races in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. It is year 1 who have the lead though currently, with James Neve, with Martin Shirley in 2nd place. Paul Cook is in 3rd place. Andy McEwen 4th, because Oscar going well off the track there through the gravel. That was quite spectacular. That looks like it may have been Craig Shield. Yeah, it was Craig Shield in the 582 car there on the exit of Lesmo 2. We'll have to buy another ticket to get in, I think. He was that far off the track. But Shirley Has a little look down the inside of James Neve, probably more of a psychological sort of I'm here, a natural move. But what it's done is compromise his exit, going through the Variante Ascari, and it's made James Neve can start to make a bit of a break, but only half a second. I don't think that's going to last too long.
Charging. He's got the two Simtech cars. Actually looks like Cook's going to go to the inside of Shirley into the parabolic just there. Alright, I've gone quiet, so I'll speak on it. I've not moved. Actually, it's Cook and Shirley swapping places there. Now Cook's going to get a mighty tow down the start-finish straight. But again, still too wide for the Simtech cars. Maybe James Neve will try and manage the draft and keep them side by side. We've got Andy McEwen sat there in P4 as well, and then Warner and Winter 5 and 6. We've got a stacked group of cars at the front of our field. It looks like McEwen get up the inside just there. Got an overhead shot there. Scan the QR code on the roof if you're quick enough for your phones, guys. That'll take you to a website apparently. But yeah, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And a bit of a gap developing between the cars. Looks like we might have a shootout coming up down between Neve and Cook for the lead of the race.
Yeah, so it is going to be James Neve and Paul Cook. We've seen Simtech Racing in the last 6 BSR TC races. They're looking for 7, but I'm not sure if it will be a Simtech 7th heaven or it's a car going well wide there. I think that was Craig Schill again in trouble. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. It was Lee Holmes. So it's the 88 teammate of Lee Holmes in trouble there. It looked like he completely missed the Variante Della Roggia. He's dropped all the way down though into 12th place. He had some contact Graham Assess, our producer was telling me in my ear, and so that's what's dropped Lee Holmes down. We just see he was at the back of that lead pack. He's now dropped right down into 12th place. And the next car we need to try and catch is Shusay Fitzpatrick in 11th place. He's fighting with Fiona Siddons, who rounds out the top 10. Those two female racers, of course, were involved in that collision with Ian Manners early on as well. But at the front, Andy McEwen up into 3rd place. He's made the move on Martin Shirley, and the prime leader has his teammate Chris Warner in very close attention as well. And it'd be interesting to see. Yes, Simtech are going to try and switch those two drivers around. I think it's going to be Warner to the inside going to the Parabolica. Yeah, Shirley makes that one of the most easiest overtakes of the night for Chris Warner to get through, and you've got to think that he may do the same as well for Joe Windsor. Although fighting back on the inside is Martin Shirley. You say, oh, I'll take that back. It looks like they're not quite going to sort it out at that at the moment. But Paul Cook, the fastest lap, 2 minutes, 0.167. And he's going to look to try and get down the inside of James Neve and towards the Variante di Rettifidio. Brakes later than James Neve. The car snaking a little bit at the front, but it's enough to take the position. So Paul Cook takes the lead, but he only has not just one year one car, but two. As two the Simtech Racing cars go in the background. That's Warner and Shirley following each other for a gravity moment at the exit. What that would do is allow the 2 year one cars in front pull away. So Paul Cook does have the lead, but he's under close attention from Neve and McEwen.
It looks like Neve might be having a bash on the inside of the second chicane. Not quite into the Della Roggia just there. Bounces over the curbs, and again this will just let those rear free Simtech cars to catch up. So the 2 year one cars outnumbered 2-1 by Simtech. Paul Cook has got track position, but we know that's not the be all and end all at Monza. We've got 3 laps to go. We've got plenty more opportunities into both the first chicane and the second chicane. It looks like James Neve's got a great run out of the second Lesmo as well. They charge down the hill through the left hand sweeper there, under the old banking, and up into Ascari. It looks like close and close and close, but not quite close enough. Maybe if Paul Cook makes a mistake, that might let James Neve through there, but usually not an easy overtaking spot. Now Andy McEwen tried it around the outside earlier on, which was very, very entertaining to watch.
We did see how these year one cars overtake at Snetterton, of course. There were some fantastic moves at Snetterton. James Neve it was who made the move going through Nelson into Brundle, and he's going to try and do another good move on the outside of the Parabolica. Not quite level at the moment with Paul Cook, but he is going to be far off, and he does have the better run out of the Parabolica and goes level with our race leader. We have just under 3 minutes to go, so we're on to the penultimate lap now, and it is going to be James Neve on the outside, and Andy McEwen slots in behind. They are going to try and draft each other up, but as you see, Paul Cook has been mighty on the brakes so far this season and in this race, but James Neve is going to try and fight it round the outside. It's good braking there from Neve, Andy McEwen involved as well. So Andy McEwen on the outside as well. It's a good fight for the lead. We have 3 of the best drivers in this championship fighting. And in this lead pack, it is as it has been pretty much all season. It's Simtech versus Year 1. We have 4 of the Simtech drivers against 2 of the Year 1 drivers. But at the moment, it is side by side for the leads. They go into Variante Dalia Roggia. Oh, they're going to try and get the 2 wide. Just like that in Noah's Ark. You've got 2 by 2 by 2. And they have no contact made. This is really great racing. Neve's going to try and stick it on the outside. Lesman does it. James Neve makes me. There's contact behind as well, I saw there. Going through the Variante de Roggia. But at the front, it's James Neve in the lead here when Andy McEwen under some severe pressure from Chris Warner. But he is like a sponge. He has absorbed the pressure and he has managed to keep that 3rd position. But James Neve, with a lap and a half to go, takes the lead. But it is Paul Cook in 2nd place, Andy McEwen in 3rd. We still have this train of what is, it looks like, it's 6 cars of the 4 Simtech and the 2 Year 1. At the moment, I think anyone of those 6 could quite convincingly take the win here, and anything could happen on this last lap of Monza.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with a point you made earlier, Dan. You said 3 of the best racers we've got in BSR TC. I think our front 6 drivers right now are probably the 6 strongest drivers in the championship. I'm sure I might get a bashing from Michael Seal when I say that, but they are very, very strong. They've been class of the field all season. It's been Year 1 versus Simtech, as we know, and everything. That's been the theme as we approach the halfway point of our championship. Final lap of the race, so it's James Neve from Paul Cook from Andy McEwen, and then you've got Chris Warner. How's this going to shake? How's it going to play? Who's going to dive to the inside? Who's going to dive to the inside? Who's going to be latest on the brakes? It looks like Andy McEwen trying to go around the outside of Paul Cook there. Does he make it stick? Not quite. He's now shuffled to the outside for Further Grande, but he just about manages to get back in line there. James Neve, that's allowed him to scamper away. He's got a 7/10 of a second gap as we charge on through the long, fast, flat-out right-hander. James Neve might have just about managed to secure the win here, but who's going to finish on the podium? I've got no idea. As Warner now up the inside of McEwen into the De La Roggia. Maybe a small amount of contact, but they keep it all pointing straight. Oh, I'm going to take a breath, Dan. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Reese. As I go through the first of the Lesmos, it is James Neve and Paul Cook, and with the shenanigans we've had on the first part of the lap, they have decided to break free. Well, haven't decided, they've been able to break free from the rest of the pack behind them. But James Neve does have a very handy lead of nearly a second to Paul Cook. But of course, we have 2 very long straights ahead of us. But it looks like James Neve is quite fitting, really, because Simtech were looking for their 7th victory in a row, and it looks like they may possibly be denied by car number 7, James Neve, for Year 1 racing. But James Neve has just one more corner to go as he goes through Ascari and onto the final straight towards the Parabolica for the final time. There's a car, there's a Simtech racing car in the background that's had drama up against the wall. That's Jackson in the 585, Rob Jackson. But at the front, it is going to be James Neve. He needs to get the Parabolica right. That is perfection from James Neve. And it is going to be the car of James Neve that takes victory here in race 3 at Monza. It's Year 1 racing back at the top. James Neve with the victory, with Paul Cook in 2nd place. Andy McEwen riding on the podium for Year 1. And then in 4th place is Chris Warner. 5th is Joe Winter. Taking the Pro-Am win in 6th is Martin Shirley. Craig Schill is in 7th place and the 2nd Pro-Am driver. In 8th place is Shersey Fitzpatrick after a very eventful race for her. Lee Holmes takes 9th and Bradley Hulse rounds out the top 10 with in 11th place is going to be Fiona Siddons. 12th is Rob Jackson. Chris Dixon is still on the track here now and he will take 13th place and the victory. And the cars who have not been classified in this race are going to be Ian Manners and Luke Pullin. But once again, a really top battle between Year 1 and Simtech Racing. But this time, it is the drivers from Year 1 Racing who come out on top.
Wow, what a race. Hard to call. So many twists and turns along the way, but James Neve prevailing, making up for perhaps past sins for Team Year 1 this evening. It was innocent party in race 1. but he wins race 3 of the evening from Paul Cook with McEwen in P3. Wow, that sets up one heck of a race. It's hard to tell because of how strong the draft is, Dan, how strong the slipstream is. It's hard to tell actually who our quickest driver, who our class of the field is tonight, because of how strong it is. And it's about who's the smartest, who's got the best IQ, and who's got the most confidence in their brake pedal.
I think also, as you say, you touched on it there, sort of intelligence, racecraft. I think they're just as important, if not more important, than sort of the raw speed at Monza, because with the slipstream, you don't have to be the fastest driver around the track this evening to be able to do well. If you're just able to stick within that slipstream, you'll be in a very good position. But we see there James Neve, Paul Cook and Andy McEwen were our podium, and that podium, I'm sure, will be up shortly with the results. And also, of course, we have for the final time tonight our reverse grid draw as well to see who takes pole position for the final race of the evening here at Monza. And it's incredible to think that after this final race, we'll be halfway through the BSR TC season. As we see there, James Neve, Paul Cook and Andy McEwen are 3 drivers who are on the podium after the 3rd race here at Monza. And then just behind them is Chris Warner in 4th, Joe Winter takes 5th, and our Pro-Am winner Martin Shirley in 6th. And those top 6 separated by just over 2 seconds at the line. And a big gap back to Craig Shield, who finishes in 7th, Shazay Fitzpatrick in 8th place, with Lee Holmes in 9th, and Bradley Holst, the privateer, getting a top 10 in his Audi RS3. In 11th place is Fiona Sidness. We saw her in the thick of the action. Rob Jackson is 12th from pole position. He's had 2 pole positions but not been able to convert them. Chris Dixon is 13th and the AM winner. And the drivers who were not classified in that race, we saw Ian Manners have that massive shunt, and he is a non-finisher, alongside Luke Pullen as well, who did not finish the race. And we are very shortly going to have the reverse grid for the final time tonight. We've seen 15 and 9 so far. What is this final reverse grid going to fall out? Let's have a look and see. The wheel is spinning now. I think it is going to be 8th place, and that will put Shazay Fitzpatrick on pole position. So Shazay Fitzpatrick will be on pole with Craig Shield alongside her. So we've had all sorts of reverse grids tonight. We've had 9th, we've had 15th, and now we have our lowest one of 8th. But I think 8 cars around Monza is enough that we're going to see some good action in this final race, because the grid hasn't actually been too jumbled up on this occasion.
No, it's going to be an absolute blockbuster. It's going to be complete. Sorry, apologies. It's going to be we're going to have some of our quickest drivers having to pick their way through 1 or 2 programs, perhaps. But then we're going to have that all-out brawl that we saw, especially towards the end of race 3 there, against some of our best drivers. And that's what we tune in to see on BSR TC. Hopefully we'll get another AM in the race as well. So Chris Dixon's got some competition back there in AM. Not that he'll be complaining right now of that, I am sure. But I think we're about to take a break now and just take a short moment just to restock ourselves. We'll see you back in a few minutes for the final race of the evening here in the BSR TC Series.
Good evening and welcome back to Year 1 TV. This is the fourth and final race of the evening here at Monza. Following this race, we will be officially halfway through our championship. We have the top 8 that have been reversed for this final race, which puts Jose Fitzpatrick on pole position for the final race of the evening. And we've seen a magnitude of drivers at the front. It always seems to be Year 1 versus the SimTech boys. But also, you get Lee Holmes and 88 Tech trying to get involved as well. And I think really those three teams have been sort of the highlight of the championship standings, which we're going to see now. With Paul Cook leading the championship with 1,648 points. Over 1,000-point lead to his teammate Martin Shirley, who is second in the championship, in the leading Pro-Am. And then in third place is Lee Holmes for 88 Tech with 1,320 points. Fourth place is James Neve. Andy McEwen in fifth place with 1,220 points. But that is despite the fact he's missed a week. And it'll be interesting to see after this week how the halfway point, what the scores are when we get the drops involved. Ian Manners in sixth place. Luke Jones is seventh. He's our AM leader. Had some problems tonight. We've only seen him so far for the first race, so potentially some tech problems from Luke Jones, but he is in 7th. Craig McDonald 8th, and then you got the SimTech Racing duo of Joe Winter and Chris Warner rounding out the top 10. They're not doing full championship seasons, but they are up there. Craig Schill is in 11th, with Fiona Simmons 12th. Luke Pullen 13th, and Chris Dixon is in 14th. The Glenn Humberstone 15th, Alistair Hatcher 16th, Wayne Douglas in 17th. Our pole sitter for this race, Jose Fitzpatrick 18th, Rob Jackson in 19th. Actually, Rob Jackson, not much of a gap between those two drivers. There are 6 points in it. And Reese Watt rounds out the top 20. He's another driver in the AM class who is missing this evening. Michael Seal is 21st. Andy Slocum 22nd. Mark Oliver 23rd. Our new driver, Bradley Hulse, is in 24th place. And rounding out the 25 cars in the championship is Kip Stevens, who is one of the leading lights behind the British sim racers and has been for many years. As we will now have a look at what has got Paul Cook towards the summit of the championship. As we see here, he has had 19 starts this season. He has had 5 wins and 11 podium finishes. So Paul Cook has been extremely consistent this season. As we saw last season with Andy McEwen, consistency is what gets you the championships, and he's only had one finish this season outside of the top 10. And when you consider what happens in the British sim racers touring cars, it's unpredictable. It is, as I say, unpredictable, exciting racing. To not finish outside the top 10 on more than one occasion is to Paul Cook's credit, and that's why he is at the summit of the championship. As I say, he's had 11 podiums, so he's had a podium in more than half of the races he's done this season in the British sim racing touring cars. And of course, with 3 reverse grids tonight, Reese, that is some achievement.
Yeah, he's been very consistent, very strong all season long. There's a reason he's top dog right there. Got about 90 seconds to go before race 4. I've had a quick sneak peek at the track conditions as well. It's a late evening here. It's the Italian sunset at the National Park of Monza. I'm really looking forward to this one, to see how the field manages to get themselves shaked out after the start and see who can break away. If anyone can break away, I've not really seen any breakaway winners so far. But Dan, what's your prediction? Who's your driver to look out for here in race 4?
I don't know. That is a question. So many drivers sort of near the front of the field in that top 8 who are race winners, and I think it is going to be either a SimTech or Year 1 driver. I think that's the closest prediction I'm going to get out of me tonight with this one, because anybody could win it in sort of the top 8. It's a very strong drivers to see there in the championship standings as well. But it would also be interesting to see how Jose Fitzpatrick does off of the pole position as well. She's been in and around the top 10 pretty much all evening, so if she can get in the slipstream of some of these big boys in the final race, who knows what could happen? Maybe a surprise podium. She is in the pro class, so she does have some pace. It's just the case maybe that she has not done. I think she's done 2 or 3 meetings. She hasn't been with us for the full season, and as I say, if she can sort of get into the slipstream and fighting around those faster cars, we'll see what happens. But I believe we are going to go to the race very shortly for the final time tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to this one, Dan. We've just seen the guys just finish off their final practice laps, just shaking down, just getting used to the new track conditions that they've got to deal with. But checkered flag is out here in practice. So we've got a minute to lights out. So taking us through the starting order so far, we'll confirm Shisha Fitzpatrick on the front row of the grid in just a moment now. And there she is. She's loaded on in. We'll just wait for the graphic and I'll do a full rundown of the grid right now for us. Just as that loads on up, you can see the 88 Tech car there in second. I think that's Craig Schill. It is indeed. And he's leading our Pro 1 category. You've then got Martin Shirley in third. Joe Winter in fourth with Chris Warner fifth. Andy McEwen P6 with Paul Cook, the man we took a closer look at, in P7. With James Neve, our race 3 winner, starting P8. P9 is Lee Holmes. And then we've got Bradley Hulse, our debutant tonight, in P10. Fiona Siddons, P11. Jackson, P12th. Dixon, 13th. Manners, after his huge impact in race 3, P14, with Pullen in 15th. And Humbleston rounding out our field right now. And that is perfect timing. We've got the lights, Dan, so why don't you take us away?
Yeah, so here we go then for the final time at Monza today. Lights are on. Out there you go, we're underway. It's a good start from the Simtech car, Martin Shirley, from the second row. And I think he will go past Jose Fitzpatrick. And we're looking to make an impression on Craig Shield. All the cars have gotten away so far from the grid okay. As they go down to the Variante di Rettifilo for the first time, it is Craig Shield who is going to keep the lead. But there's 3 Simtech racing cars who have put themselves up to second, third and fourth. That is Shirley, Winter and Warner, respectively. But Craig Shield it is who has the lead at the moment. Everyone has seemingly got through the Variante di Rettifilo for the final time tonight. And as in the first lap, shall I say. But Andy McEwen is looking to make an over... Oh, there's a car on the grass there. That looks like it was James Neve potentially there on the grass. Hasn't lost out, but somebody who has lost out is Craig Shield. Because Martin Shirley not only takes the overall race lead, but does take the Pro-Am lead with that. And as they go through again in towards the first Lesmo, Joe Winter takes second place. And Craig Shield, having made a good start, has dropped himself down into third place. So on board with Andy McEwen at the moment, and that is the car of Chris Warner ahead. Chassis Fitzpatrick has gone wide there across the grass. She's not having a good first lap at all, and is now down into 9th place. James Neve making his way past. But it is Martin Shirley in the lead with Joe Winter in second and Craig Shield in third. As we see that taking a big amount of curb was Lee Holmes there behind Paul Cook, our championship leader. We've seen just how consistent he's been. As Fiona Siddons there as well, going very wide on the exit of Ascari. But the cars are very much together still, as there's Craig Shield making a wild movement out to the right-hand side. He's trying it down the inside of Joe Winter. Joe Winter may have a bit of better momentum on the outside. He does so, but also, of course, will have the split to his teammate Martin Shirley. And this is one of those situations where the team game really has been helping Simtech tonight. But as they cross the line for the first time in the final race, it is Shirley, Winter and Shield, our top 3. But Chris Warner, we're looking to get involved. And Andy McEwen not far behind as well.
Yeah, what a first lap we've had there. Still 15 runners running as we get to the end of that. And again, it's that one. We've got now 2 Simtech racing cars at the front. Shield for 88 Tech in third, and then it's the Simtech Year 1. And Shisha Fitzpatrick, our Paulson, sliding down to P6. With Fiona in P7. Well, again, the field has mixed itself on up. And I think Joe Winter's got to be fancying himself here for a final race victory, adding to his tally for the evening. Although Craig Shield looking like he's going to give it a send down the inside. And here comes Lance Stroll, because we've cut away at just the wrong time just there. Paul Cook back down in P14. Disaster him so far. And again, James Neve P15 as well. Oh, so we've got a spinner just, very, very nearly avoiding just there as well. It's a good old scramble. We've got 2 AMs as well. We've got Glenn Humstone leading the way in our AM category too. So plenty of places to look just here. And Martin Shirley though leading the way with his teammate in second.
And the contact there that we saw at the Variante della Roggio was between the 900 car of Chris Dixon and Lee Holmes in the 35. It looked like Lee Holmes maybe beached himself on the curb. But as we look now on screen, it's Joe Winter who has taken the lead. We said he may be looking for another victory tonight, and he has taken the lead with Martin Shirley in second, Chris Warner in third, Andy McEwen fourth, and Craig Shield in fifth. And those 5 cars have made a breakaway from the rest of the pack. There is almost a 2.5 second back gap but change for second place because Warner has gone down slightly the inside of Martin Shelley, but Andy McEwen trying to follow him through as well in the Year 1 racing car. He is the only Year 1 car in this Simtech Racing gaggle at the front. There's also the 88 Tech car of Craig Shield involved in that. Joe Winter has the fastest lap, a 2 minutes .923 for lap number 2. But it is 3 Simtech cars at the front, although Andy McEwen is going to try and go down the inside of, in fact, he's on the outside of Chris Warner. Going to try and get the cut back and a better run, and he does on the exit of the Variante di Rettifiglio into Curva Grande. So Andy McEwen, if he can pull enough alongside, that he's going to clear him. I think he is. He's just about got that momentum. And if he can clear Chris Warner, trees are in the way. Look at this trees out the way. We didn't see what's going on. Here we go. So they're side by side going in towards the Variante di Roggia. And Warner, I think, is just going to hold on. But if Andy McEwen been able to just get the rest of that car across, I think that would have been a very interesting fight into the braking zone. But it is Chris Warner who's able to hold on. But it's battling on the first half of the lap as that Chassis Fitzpatrick catches 2.5 seconds. She's already in the slipstream of Craig Shield, and that great camera angle there as they go through the second Lesmo across the curb. But Joe Winter is in the lead with his pro teammate Chris Warner in second, and Andy McEwen in third place for Year 1.
Yeah, what action. And again, just goes to show, we've seen it all season long. Simtech versus Year 1 in a pretty ding-dong battle as we're approaching the halfway point. 9 minutes away from the halfway point of our championship. It's very, very rare we actually see the two teams come together. It's actually more common, unfortunately, to see the Year 1 drivers collecting each other than it is to see Simtech versus Year 1 in car contact. That goes to show the great respect we've got. Joe Winter is just starting to edge away. We talked about not having a breakaway leader here so far tonight at Monza. It looks like Joe Winter's going to be giving that a go. And the more Andy McEwen fights Chris Warner, the more that we'll see Joe Winter start to edge away. It's a 1.1 second gap. McEwen is so tight under that rear wing, under that rear spoiler of the Elantra of Warner. He darts over to the inside. He gets nice and far over to the right. No side draft involved just here. He's up the inside. Can he brake later? Great confidence from both of them. Warner just about keeps up the inside. And again, we've now got McEwen. He'll probably get a slightly better run off the corner. But he's going to get attacked by not one, but 2 Simtech racing cars on the way down to the De La Roggia chicane. Which you've got Warner, Shirley, and you've got the 88 Tech car of Shield keeping a watching brief for any free pickings he can get down. This has got all the makings of a blockbuster finish. Maybe for P2, because it looks like Joe Winter is scrambled on away right here.
I wouldn't say that, Reese. I think that Andy McEwen is a man on a mission at the moment. I'm just going to touch on something you said about the respect between the drivers at the front of the field. And that's something which really we see throughout the course of this British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship so far is there has been very little contact between the Simtech drivers and the Year 1 drivers. As you say, it's been more the Year 1 drivers hitting each other, but it's great to see the respect levels in this championship. Also further down, there's another Year 1 v Simtech battle, although maybe not for positions that they're used to fighting for. It's 11th and 12th. We've got Paul Cook and James Neve fighting out for those positions, but Andy McEwen has caught up about a couple of tenths of a second since getting past Chris Warner. The gap between them is now down to 1.3 seconds at the front, so Andy McEwen, I believe, is in the slipstream. He is, because I can see that gap with the low zooming coming further and further down by the second. It's down now to just over at 1.2, but Chris Warner very late on the brakes. But Andy McEwen is going to have this long straight. I think that Joe Winter, although he's had a bit of a lead, I don't think he's got enough where he's going to be able to sort of run away and hide from the rest of the pack, because McEwen and Warner are catching closely, but Martin Shirley he's dropped back behind Chris Warner. A bit bigger gap there than there was before. And there is Shield and Fitzpatrick on the back of this train as well. I did say before the start of the race, that if Jose Fitzpatrick was able maybe to catch a slipstream with the front pack, that she may be able to get a good result out of this race. And she is currently in 6th place, 4th out of the AM drivers. But Andy McEwen is taking chunks out of Joe Winter. That gap now is just over a second. 7/10 of a second on the previous lap. And as I said, Andy McEwen is a man on a mission, and he is pretty much catching up to that Simtech Racing back bumper, corner by corner.
Yeah, Andy McEwen, he's got the bit between his teeth. We said we didn't know who was the quickest driver on track tonight because of the slipstream. Andy McEwen's putting a big old stake in that one. What Joe Winter needs, he needs his teammate, he needs Chris Warner to try and send a lunge up on Andy McEwen, try and cost him some time. Because at the minute with 4 laps to go, Andy McEwen's looking like he's going to be the favourite for the race. What won't help Chris Warner out is that he's dipped 2 wheels on the grass on the exit off the Lesmo corner there as they duck under the bridge. 4 laps to go. It's such a historic circuit. This is where I actually sat just on the entrance to Ascari when I came and watched the Italian Grand Prix. It's a brilliant place to watch motor vehicles race. And it looks like Andy McEwen, full of the fire of the Tifosi, hunting down Joe Winter. Just 7/10 now the gap I can see on our timing screen just there. And every time they get onto a straight, every time that slipstream, every time Joe Winter punches that hole in the air, Andy McEwen closes on in down.
Yeah, as I said, I think we are now looking at potentially 3 cars for the victory, because second pack of 3 behind of Shirley, Sheila and Fitzpatrick fighting amongst themselves, and that gap is up to 1.6 seconds between Warner and Shirley. And I think Shirley just can't shake off the attentions of the 88 Tech driver. And of course, this is not just 4th place, this is for the winning AM, as Andy McEwen does a 159.482, another 8/10 taken out of him, taken out of Joe Winter by Andy McEwen. As they're under the brakes for the Variante Rettifilio, and it is Shirley who just keeps ahead of Craig Schill. And this is a battle for the Pro-Am leads, I say, and it is a fantastic battle at that, as we have Joe Winter and Andy McEwen. The gap now down to half a second, under half a second, as they go down towards Variante della Roggia. And there is 3 laps to go at the moment. We are getting towards the closing stages of this race, and what Joe Winter will hope as he goes through the first of the Lesbos is that he's able to get a decent run and not touch that gravel on the exit. He doesn't, so he goes through the first of the Lesbos, now to the second one there. As you see, he is going to set, yep, that's perfect. And that's what Joe Winter needed, because the slightest bit of a mistake going through the Lesmos would have meant that Andy McEwen would have been in prime position, because taking a wheel or 2 on that gravel will cost you. He's coming. Eric Sessman says in my ear, and he definitely is Andy McEwen. Oh, and the brake, another car length though out of Joe Winter, and he is in prime position. They're going to come towards the start-finish line, and there will be 2 laps to go, and it's going to be probably one of the most intense 2 laps to go win this season, because Andy McEwen caught a hand over fist, and this is a point now. He's done the catching, but as Murray Walker used to say, catching is one thing, overtaking is quite another.
But if anyone can do it down Cheshire Stenner himself, Andy McEwen can. He's an absolute fiend at Alton Park, which is where we're going for round 7 of our championship. He's 4 attempts behind. He's marched down that gap. It was almost 2 seconds when he passed Chris Warner. Now 3 tenths of a second. Not all of that was due to the slipstream. That was partially down to speed as well. But actually looks like Chris Warner's now having an attack on Andy McEwen. You can see the brakes glowing on Joe Winter just there, as Chris Warner tries to go around the outside. Andy McEwen does give him plenty of space, plenty of respect given. And that's sent the back to 7 tenths. 2 laps to go here, Dan. And you're a racer yourself, not just in the virtual world, but also real life. Answer me this. Would you rather be Joe Winter, Andy McEwen, or Chris Warner, as we've got a lap and a half of this historic Monza circuit to go?
I think I'd rather be Joe Winter, because you're in the lead, and sort of anything can happen in that next sort of lap and a half, especially sort of in the real world. There can be a safety car, there can be sort of anything that happens. That's the place you want to be, is in the lead at the moment. As you say, McEwen is being given a rather bit of a workover here by Chris Warner, and that gave Winter sort of 4 tenths of a second on the exit of Variante di Rettifilio, and he's very close behind the bumper that year 1 Hyundai Elantra, and I think he will have another look, but not potentially in a Ascari. I think he's too far back, although he's going to look for it. That's rather cheeky. Again, it's sort of one of those psychological ones where he's trying to distract Andy, let Andy know he's there, but I think Andy will be well and truly aware that he is there. But the gap to Winter now is pulling him closer in as we see Glenn Humberstone, the AM leader. He is there's only 2 AMs in this race, Glenn and Chris Dixon, and then Glenn Humberstone is well on the way to a victory in the AMs. It looks like that actually that there's quite a gap between in fact Glenn Humberstone and Dixon. So Glenn Humberstone in a good position to, as we see there, there's a Fiona Siddons there without a front end on her car, so she's had some rough and tumble in this race, and there is Dixon in the background, so it is pretty much the hole in the straight between the Ascari and Parabolica. But for the final time, it is Winter versus McEwen versus Warner, and on this occasion, Winter doesn't get the best of exits. Warner was not giving McEwen something to think about, and we could be in for a grandstand last 3/4 of a lap, because we have Winter and McEwen separated by under 0.3 of a second. They're going to be breaking to it. Andy McEwen knows it's the final lap. Is he going to send one in a place that maybe Winter wouldn't be expecting him to? He's right on the back of that Syntec Racing bumper. There we go, a lot of curb taken by the Year 1 driver Andy McEwen as he goes towards the first Lesmo for the final time tonight.
Yes, and you got Andy McEwen all over the back of him. We saw them both take mighty amounts of curb in different parts of that chicane. We actually saw Joe Winter cut the left-hand corner a little bit more than Andy did. I think there is a slowdown on the inside there, but it looks like he's got away with it. You've got Chris Warner in 3rd place, who's actually very close. He's actually closer to Andy than Andy is to Joe. As we come into Ascari for the final time. Now, Andy was on the receiving end of 3 photo finishes from Adam Delmont in the MX-5s on Tuesday night. What will he do here? Will he play it safe? Will he go for the inside? Will he go for the outside? I don't think he's got the option of playing it safe because he's got Chris Warner there in his mirror, so he's got to attack. Attack is the best form of defence. Andy McEwen, a 10th and a half, a 10th. He goes to the outside. Chris Warner goes to the inside. Andy McEwen almost gets his nose. His nose is alongside on the exit. Not quite. It looks like Joe Winter has managed to hold on in that final break-in for the final race here at Monza. And Joe Winter takes the win in race 4. His 2nd of the night. Andy McEwen P2. Chris Warner in 3rd. We've got a short wait for Martin Shirley to cross the line in P4 in overall, winning the Pro-Am category. And then Shisha Patrick, our pole sitter, in P5. And Craig Schultz, 2nd place in Pro-Am there. Dan will bring you the full race results in a moment. Andy McEwen, he went for it, but Joe Winter, he weathered the storm. He weathered the pressure. And Joe Winter takes the final win of the night and his 2nd win of the evening. Wow. What a moment.
Glenn Humberstone there taking the victory, and that's why I said, Reese, when you asked me with 2 laps to go, I want to be the man in front. I want to be the person that sort of is in my own hands as such. That's a very battle damaged car there of Fiona Siddons, which is pulling up. The whole front end of that has been ripped off. But as I say, it is victory for Joe Winter and Andy McEwen. It was a fantastic drive. The gap was nearly as far as back as sort of 1.6 seconds at one point. So did extremely well to catch up, but it was the old Murray Walker adage. He was able to catch him, but was not able to overtake. He gave it a really good go, though. And Andy McEwen, after having a night he probably would want to forget, sort of in the first half of the evening, comes back in the second half and gets that podium in 2nd place to follow up on his 3rd place in race number 3.
Yeah, brilliant finish to the evening there. We've had all sorts of action happening. Army race 2 and 3. We had the contact at the end of race 1 between the Year 1 guys. That'll be getting replayed over and over again in the Discord, I am sure. Now, a little bit more of a straightforward race 4. Joe Winter getting out in front early, getting that gap. And Andy McEwen, bit between his teeth, hunting him down, closing him down, but not managed to get the overtake done. As Dan correctly predicted, the old Murrayism of catching is one thing, passing is another. And Joe Winter proved that with a stout defence on that final lap into the Parabolica. Just holding off, just shrugging off Andy McEwen there. We'll have some results for you in just a moment. But Dan, Cast your thoughts. Obviously, we've had 4 races of action. Who's your driver of the day?
Oh, that is the question, isn't it? There's so many to pick from, and as I say, the SimTech drivers they've been there or thereabouts. The Year One drivers as well, and I think there's anyone that's really stood out. I'd say one thing that did stand out in that race, though, we were talking about Paul Cook not finishing out of the top 10 on more than one occasion. I think I put the curse on him there because not the best of races for Paul Cook. I think he finished sort of 11th, sort of 10th, 11th. We'll see when the results come up where he finished. But I did notice he was quite a way down. He was fighting with James Neve, so those two drivers finishing a little bit lower than they would expect. But that's sort of the advantage of Paul Cook having such a big lead in the championship, is that he can afford to have the odd 1 or 2 races along the way where things don't go to plan, because where he's been so consistent for the rest of them, it's given him that little bit of a buffer. But driver of the day, I to be honest, I can't really pick, because we've seen so many good performances tonight from so many different drivers.
No, so you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'll pick somebody. So I think it was Joe Winter. Not only was he on the podium in race 1, but he also won 2 of our races this evening as well. A great performance all round from Joe. And actually, he's there. He's on top step of the podium here for race 4. Dan, why don't you run us through those results?
So there we go. Joe Winter in pole position. Takes the final victory, shall I say, of the evening from Andy McEwen. And Chris Warner also on the podium for SimTech Racing. In 4th place is Martin Shirley, taking yet another Pro-Am win, with Chessie Fitzpatrick converting a pole position on the reverse grid to 5th place. Craig Shield is 6th, he was 2nd in Pro-Am, and Ian Manners 3rd in Pro-Am as well, with Luke Pullen in 8th place for Year 1. Paul Cook finishes 9th, so not outside the top 10 for Paul Cook, but 9th place, one of his worst finishes of the season. And also rounding out the top 10, another pro driver, that is Lee Holmes for 88 Tech. In 11th place and taking the AM victory is Glenn Humberstone. Fiona Siddon's a very battered car, but finishing in 12th place. Chris Dixon is 2nd in AM, 13th day rule. James Neve, also a driver in trouble in that race, he finishes in 14th. Cars 1 lap down, who will still be classified, is Rob Jackson. And a non-finish on his BSR TC debut evening for Bradley Hulse as well. So Bradley Hulse did not finish the 4th race of the evening. And you see there, Joe Winter, as we said, taking a 2nd victory of the night. And I believe that we have an interview lined up as well here with Andy McEwen. Andy, we spoke to you earlier in the evening. It hadn't gone so well, but second half of the night, 2 podiums and very close to victory there in that final race.
Yeah, us having to cut that interview short because the race was starting kind of summed up actually how the night had gone. It was so close to perfection, and just didn't quite go to plan in the end. But glad I could turn it around a bit in those last 2 races.
Yeah, it's a fantastic job to catch up to Joe towards the end of the race. At one point, it was only 2 seconds. Got your head down right on the back of Joe Winter, and Parabolica on the final lap. It's sort of, you had Chris very close behind you as well, and Chris was waiting for that little mistake to sneak by, and it must have been sort of a bit torn. What do you do? Do you sort of try and attack Joe? It was sort of a risky reward, and in the end, you finished 2nd, no losses, no gains, and I think with the way you say, the way the evening had gone so far, that's probably sort of the best you would probably get from that at that stage.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that last race actually. Tinged with frustration because that's the pace that I felt I had all night. I really did feel like after a couple of rubbish weeks, the first 3 tracks that I raced at this year are not tracks I enjoy. So I was really looking forward to getting to Monza, ran well in the MX-5 on Tuesday, and I was able to, once I broke past Chris, which I was really happy with that move I made as well. I was able to chase down Joe pretty quickly, and it was tricky though because, like you say, I had Chris behind, and Chris is a definite championship rival, and so is Joe, to be honest. So I kind of had to try and make sure I didn't throw away a 2nd place because I knew Chris was going to stick it straight up the inside if he had half a chance. But yeah, I got the run into the Parabolica, and I sort of knew that Joe would probably try and cover off the switchback, so I just thought I was going to send it around the outside, see what happens, and almost worked, but not quite.
You touched on the championship there, of course, and you've missed one meeting. That'll go down as one of your drop weeks, but you're sitting quite pretty in 5th in the championship, having missed a week. And I think when those drop scores take account, we'll see a lot closer picture sort of near the top of the championship. As a defending champion last year, I wouldn't say you're slowly sort of sneaking away at it, but it's definitely sort of visible week on week that you're getting closer to those drivers at the front, especially you've got drivers like Joe as well, who've already said to us they're not going to be racing a full season, and we've been missing 3 weeks. So it's their disappointment, but obviously a boost for you to defend that number 1.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Joe. That's a shame. I enjoy racing against Joe. But then it's one less SimTech driver to worry about for the championship. So, there are plenty of them. I'm sure they'll still, they're still the favourites. I think Chris Warner especially, he's a machine. And when he's on it, he's very, very hard to beat. So, we were looking at the drop scores last night. We were trying to work it all out. And I think there were about 5 of us within about 60, 70 points at the top with drops. Obviously, I'll hope that tonight goes down as a drop. I don't think I did anything that should warrant a penalty. So that means I can drop this one and actually win back some points that was probably dropping from earlier on in the season. So as a commentator, I don't like drop scores because I'm not very good at counting and working them out. So I hate them from that perspective. But as a driver, I'm learning to quite like them, actually.
We go from one extreme to the other. We've been at Monza this week. Next week, we go to Knock Hill. It's a completely different circuit. What are your thoughts going into the trip to Scotland next week?
I can't wait. I love Knock Hill. Managed to win a race there last season, I think, although that was on the reverse configuration. But it's a track I really enjoy, and you've really got to have the right setup. And I think we've got a good setup in our team, hopefully, for Knock Hill. So hopefully we'll be able to ride the curbs and the bumps well, and obviously track position is going to be so important. It's not Monza, you can't just slipstream your way through the field. So although actually passing tonight was a bit harder than I think we expected it to be. So it's certainly going to be tricky at Knock Hill, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a proper track.
Thank you very much, Andy. I'm just going to hand you over to Reese. Reese, you got any questions for Andy before we go?
I do indeed. You mentioned about you being surprised about how easy it was to overtake. We thought you were going to scream on up on Joe Winter there and get the move done. We talked about on Tuesday night the carrier from MX5s to TCR. Obviously, it's a high-speed chess match at Monza. Did you actually think, were you employing some of the tactics maybe learnt from MX5s to TCRs, or is the draft model that different?
It's definitely different. It's not as powerful in the TCR. So for a few laps there, I was about, 6-7 tenths behind Joe coming off the Parabolica. In the MX5, I'd be level with him at least by the time I got to turn 1, whereas in the TCR, I was still like 3 or 4 tenths back. So you really had to concentrate on your corner exits, try and make them defend maybe into that Parabolica and slow them down on the exit. So it's a different kind of chess match, but it's definitely still a chess match because you've got to try and outfox them. And when everyone's as evenly matched as we are at the front of this field in particular, it does come down to mistakes and just trying to fill the mirrors, weave around a bit, try and get them offline. And very nearly worked at the end, but it wasn't easy to pass at all in the TCR compared to on Tuesday night, that's for sure.
No, you're doing great. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to whilst you're live on stream?
This is normally the point at which I would thank my teammates, but I think maybe that ship sailed tonight. No, thank you as always to the whole team. I know we had a little moment in race 1, which we'll forget all about. But apart from that, it's a great team to be involved in. The camaraderie is fantastic. So big thanks to them. And I think I've got a few people maybe watching. My dad tends to tune into these. So if you're watching, then hope you enjoyed the show.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you, Andy. Thank you very much for joining us for an interview. And good luck at Knock Hill. I won't be here next week. I'll be off out on a bit of a holiday myself. I think you missed around due to going to Germany, and I'm going to do the same next week. So I'll be seeing you in 2 weeks' time at your home track of Alton Park. So looking forward to see how you get on there. Home advantage maybe coming into effect just there. Hopefully we can have a quick look at the calendar before we bid you all fair night. So we've already ticked off half of our championship now. It's a blink and you'll miss it. 4 frenetic 15-minute races each night. With 20 races into the 40 race season. Next week we're off to Knock Hill for round 6 of the championship. Then it's Alton Park for race meeting number 7. The Grand Prix layout of Donington Park round 8, and then it's the short Silverstone National layout. Really looking forward to that. I think that'll be very, very tight, especially seeing the cars running down into Brooklands and Luffield. And then rounding it off with the big one, the big track at Brands Hatch. It'll be fast, it'll be tight, there won't be any room for error, and we'll hopefully still have some silverware on offer as well in all 3 classes. But no, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Before we get to closing thoughts, guys that have tuned in, I can see a few of you just there in chat. Please do remember to like and subscribe to Year One TV. We'll be back on Tuesday for the MX5s at Knockhill. I'll hand you over to Dan just now.
Thank you very much, Reese. We say halfway through the championship, we are 20 races out of 40, and the destination of the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship is still far from settled. You've been watching Year One TV this evening. Reese Saunders and myself, Dan Blake. As we said, he will not be here next week. I'll be joined by Super Sub Tyler Manning, who stepped in for me on the first race. Thank you very much, Tyler, and I'll see you next week. Thank you all for watching Year One TV, and we'll see you next week from Knockhill.